Okay, I was asked to make a quick presentation about the state of the prototype at the moment. The prototype isn't ready, which is why there are no motors yet connecting it to make sure that these things move. Basically, to explain how it works, this is a collection of Involute Conical Gears. Involute Conical Gears are not like normal gears. They're basically the basis of all gears. You can imagine them as a spur gear, where the profile shifting basically is extended over the vertical axis. The result is that if you have another conical involute gear, that it can actually move over the other gear while still completely intermeshing over an angle, which is what we're using here. All these conical involute gears, basically if you look, here we have one with 8 teeth, and underneath that is one with 10 teeth. And as you can see, it's basically cut, the bottom half is cut off at 180 degrees to the other side, and the next one, also the top 180 degrees is cut off, so it slides into that piece. And if you do it correctly, you can make sure that the intermeshing between those two parts keeps working perfectly. Let's see if I can get that. See? No problem. And you can slide down to the next. And then you can slide down here. Of course, if you stay in between where it's just normal gear, you have just normal intermeshing. And you can go to the next one. You've got half a gear side, so 180 degrees to move. And I need to make sure my fingers are doing it precisely, and what I'm doing now with my fingers is what I need to do with the engines later. Let me put it back. Okay. What happens during normal operations? Here is the input, where basically the engine drives the system. Then it goes here into a normal helical gear. That drives this one. This one drives this conical involute gear. That conical involute gear drives the main gear. Then from the main gear drives exactly the same setup, but in reverse. So it enters here and it comes out on the other side. Here we go from 8 teeth to 24 teeth. So this one is responsible for a gear ratio change from 1 to 1 in 3, but this one also, I can put these anywhere I want. This one also, so the combination, I get 58 different combinations, and I get a total gear ratio possible from 1 to 1 to 1 to 9, because these both are 1 in 3, but because I've got 2 of them, I can go from 1 to 1 to 1 to 9, with 58 different unique ratios. As you can see, I'll speed it up as much as I can. At this speed, it's about 500 rounds per minute, which is about real world speed. You could drive a truck and it would go about 160 kilometers on the highway if you did it with this speed. This is printed in a rather cheap printer. So if you listen, you can hear the scraping of the lines in the teeth. So it's not a very nice mechanically made. It's about as cheap as you can make it, but as you can also hear, this doesn't make that much noise, especially if you consider how cheap the quality of the prototype is. And that's probably because spur gears do make a lot of noise, but these aren't spur gears. And the tips of the teeth are cut differently than with spur gears. They don't interact immediately all at the same time. The top of the teeth starts before the rest of the teeth. So it is a little bit like with helical gears that you don't have the direct contact full force. While part of the teeth is leaving the other tooth, the other part is already engaging, starting to intermesh. So that makes it a lot more silent. You can also notice that because the movement is really very nice and smooth and efficient. And the very bad quality of the prototype, that this type of gearing is really extremely forgiving. I mean, you couldn't make it cheaper than this, and it works beautifully.